were there conversations ad nauseum of how do we get out of this rut? And is it worth alienating the hardcore Confederate flag waving flags in an effort to show inclusivity to the people who you'd now be exposing yourself to who might be future fans, which frankly might have been the result of the last week, because Bubba Wallace is getting a ton of support that from people who just ignored NASCAR because it was just this racist sport that's going on down in the South.
So, perception-wise, I can tell you in the last...
Yeah, in the eyes of...
In the last 6 years, I can't tell you how many meetings that I was a part of where we discussed how do we appeal to somebody besides our core. No doubt. That's a daily conversation that was had out there. As far as anything having to do with Confederate flags and trying to get away from the racism stigma, we didn't have any of those conversations because we didn't feel it was a big issue at our place. It's just something that wasn't part of our daily marketing efforts to try to get away from that. We were about marketing the awesomeness of 750 horsepower engines and the awesomeness of the party when you come out to the speedway. And how do we make people that aren't into racing understand what's fun about this?
Yeah, I agree, but do you feel like you were turning a blind eye in any way? Because there was definitely Confederate flags out there, and if not flags, then shirts, and if not shirts, then tattoos, and it was to be found. And was it easier ignored than dealt with, I suppose? And is that your responsibility at a specific track versus NASCAR as a whole anyway?
Man, you're put my pay grade on that. It was not a discussion, definitely no. I know that about 4 years ago, NASCAR had made a statement that they didn't support the Confederate flag, but they didn't outright ban it at racetracks. And there was a conversation about, how do you keep somebody from coming into your facility that's wearing a shirt from the 1977 Southern 500 at Darlington Speedway when the logo for the race had a Confederate flag on it.
Right.
I mean, it's a racing shirt that they're wearing. It's not just a Confederate flag shirt. And I know that conversation happened, but were we turning a blind eye to it? I really don't know. I know as far as inside our venue, it was not something that we saw very often, if ever.
Didn't NASCAR have, in maybe 2015 or 16, some sort of trade-in program with fans where you could turn in your Confederate flag and they'd give you, what, a flag of your favorite driver or something like that?
That sounds familiar. I don't think they did it everywhere. I think maybe they did it at 1 or 2 races, if I remember right. I vaguely recall that happening, but I don't think it was a program that went like for a whole season or anything. I don't remember them doing it at our place.
How's Bubba Wallace? We've had him on the air, and frankly, he was an awful interview. I think we caught him on a bad day.
Really?
Yeah, he was terrible, because I know on Twitter he's awesome, and he's a really interesting dude to talk to, and it was shockingly bad because I was really excited to talk to him, and he just kind of mailed it in.
Was it here in the last week or two?
Oh, no. Oh, no. That would have been bigger news. No, this was probably a year ago, something like that.
That surprises me. No, I've always loved talking to Bubba Wallace. He was one of the easiest going guys. When they would once a year they have all kinds of media and production crews for the TV networks, and our crew for Big Hoss TV would go to Charlotte to get 7 minutes with every driver to get everything we want content-wise from them in that 7 minutes, and Bubba always looked forward to coming to talk to the folks from Big Hoss TV. Now, I thought he was great. I love him.
I believe he's the 7th black driver in NASCAR history, I believe. So it's not completely rare, but it's not exactly an organization that seems to be nurturing the minority driver. Although maybe it is, because they've had more lately, I think, than they have in the past, and there's a few international drivers now, right?
Yeah, there's a part-time driver in the truck series, Jesse Owuji, who's a military guy, too. He's from Carrollton, I believe. He runs part-time in trucks, but that's the only other African-American I can think of off the top of my head right now that's active in the series. And some of that comes from, these guys start racing when they're 6 years old. Some of it just is upbringing and who's brought up in the auto racing world. What made Bubba a tough interview? Was he just one-word answers, distracted, or?
I remember I was filling in. I think Donovan was out.
Was it in person or phone?
No, it was phone.
Okay.
Yeah, no, in person it would have been totally different. And it was me and Norm, and boy, I remember. Right afterward, before we went to break, I kind of went off like, dude, why even do an interview if you're gonna? He just mailed it in. because
that's disappointing.
And NASCAR drivers are famous for doing more interviews than any other sport, man. That you line them up and they're going to probably spend 2 hours of their day just knocking out these interviews, answering the same questions, and especially with Bubba, you know, he's going to have to answer the what's it like to be the only African-American driver on the circuit, and, you know, just stuff that I think they're sick of answering, and hey, maybe it was me and Norm asking those questions that did not intrigue him, but anyway, it just stood out to me as being a very non-interesting interview that he didn't seem very into. But I'm a fan. And
I'm a huge fan of his.
I went on his website this week and I bought a cool sweater and a t-shirt, and I'm, you know, supporting, and I would say right now he is definitely my favorite NASCAR driver. And I really wonder how many people who didn't give a blank about NASCAR until last week are embracing him. Oh, here.
My wife.
Really?
Absolutely.
Hey, Borat. Hey, Borat. Thank you for joining us. Let me ask you this, because this has bugged me all week, and you will know about this. Does Richard Petty only have the one car in his team? Is it the 43 with Bubba Wallace?
Yes.
So he's the damn king, but they're not one of the blue blood great teams, right?
Correct. Not anymore. They don't have sponsorship and financing. They don't necessarily have the best parts, the best motors, the best cars that they're running out there. So there are people who discount Bubba Wallace because he's no good and he's terrible. And I tell you to look further back at his career when he ran Xfinity and when he ran trucks, and he's had some success at those levels.
Well, maybe he just needs better parts.
He does. He needs better cars to drive.
Maybe he needs to get in the zone. Auto zone.
Dumb.
Just saying, man.
So, do you think, Rich, that there will be a battle to get the services? Like, is he good enough if he was on, Richard Childress or whoever the best is now?
I don't know, because he's had trouble getting sponsorship. About 3 years ago, when he was full-time in Xfinity with Roush Racing, they closed the shop up in April because they lost their sponsor, and he basically was out of work the rest of the year until he got signed the next year by Richard Petty Motorsports. And I don't understand how he has had trouble finding sponsorship.
I bet the line forms to the left now.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think so too.
And who's the top 1 or 2 teams right now?
Right now, it's Joe Gibbs Racing and his team Penske, certainly at the top of the heap right now, and Stuart Haas Racing.
I would think that they are clamoring to get him in one of the best cars on the circuit right now, but maybe not.
It all comes down to money, and like Danny just said, surely sponsors are going to be lining up for him now, and there are drivers of varying levels of talent that get great rides because they have the money. They have some sponsor that's willing to back them. And when it comes to that, and look, I think Bubba's a pretty good driver. I don't think he's one of the 10 best drivers, but I don't think he's one of the 10 worst drivers either in the Cup Series. And I think he's got a good chance to get a better shot here in the next year.
So the amount of sponsorship money that you get, it's directly proportionate to the quality of ride you're in. So is it similar to like a small market baseball team that only has an X amount of dollars for payroll versus the Yankees?
Yes. So teams that finish regularly 25th back to 40th every week in the Cup Series, their chances are, especially Richard Petty Motorsports, maybe not quite this far down. There's certainly ones behind them that they're not running new cars, they're not running new motors, they're buying stuff off of other teams and making it work. And they're trying to survive off of the purse money that they get each week and a little bit of sponsorship money to try to build their team into something. But absolutely, the sponsorship dollars you get equates to what your team has. And you know, you've got your heavyweight teams, and I didn't mention Hendrick Motorsports, but they're certainly one of the top organizations too, and they have the big sponsors, and therefore they have more research and development to build better parts and to have, you know, better guys are running new cars almost every single week.
You could be the dopest driver out there, but if you've got a lousy car and a subpar crew,
no chance.
You're not going to be able to compete with a guy that may not be a better driver than you, but he's got better components. Like Albert Pujols in his prime on a lousy baseball team that's just not enough.
Absolutely. A perfect example of it is if Kyle Busch owns his own truck team, and he gets all of his stuff back to Gibbs Racing, big money team, and everybody he puts in his truck, whether he drives it, he whoever else he puts in there, if they don't win, they're very competitive. Yesterday's truck race was won by a guy named Brandon Jones, his first truck win ever, and he ran the 51 for Kyle Busch because it's the best equipment on the racetrack.
That seems unfair. It seems like that sport would
That's
have
stock car racing, though. That's what it is you're running stock cars in theory, and the best you can do with them is what your team can figure out. It's interesting, if Bubba Wallace was in Denny Hamlin's car every week or Kyle Busch's car every week, what would he do?
Yeah. It's always the argument.
Yeah.
There's a guy, Timmy Hill, who runs on a team that runs 5-year-old and older cars out there and other parts, and he got in a Twitter battle in the last couple of weeks with Denny Hamlin, saying that, actually, I think I take that back. It's Corey LaJoie got in that Twitter battle with Denny Hamlin that's put me in your car and see what would happen, and Denny said it's not the result you're going to want. And look, Corey LaJoie is probably not as good a driver as Denny Hamlin, but he's going to finish a lot better than 30th if he runs in Denny Hamlin's car.
I am such a racing idiot. This is the first I've ever known about this.
It's interesting, though, right?
Yeah, it makes me want to kind of get into it a little bit.
So until we get Bubba in a better car, what we need to do is send Richard Petty, who's definitely still the face. He needs to walk into these other slots or garages, and he's like, I'm Richard Petty, and distract them, and then get their crew,
steal their parts,
steal some of these better
Get
parts,
their carburetors,
all the good parts that they have,
their intakes,
and then you bring them back to your thing. You put them in Bubba's
intakes.
Your intake manifold, maybe some, maybe some pistons.
Okay, what else are they going to grab while they're in there?
I don't know, a nice drive shaft could be fun.
Maybe a valve train, you need good valve springs.
Totally. Maybe the nitrous model. They could get
They
one
don't
of
use
those.
nitrous. They don't use that.
I'll take one
Hey,
of
can we
those.
hit real quick on the crazy weekend they had?
No! We're insanely late. You can put it at the top of the Throwdown news desk in about half an hour. How about that?
All right.
Coming up next, DFW, the memes that we created this weekend. It's a segment called 18 Minutes Without Cheese.
As training camp approaches, let's meet the Cowboys rookie class on the ticket. Center Tyler Biadish.
He was deemed the the 2019 Remington Trophy winner, that's best center, and Outland Trophy winner, best lineman. What the hell is he doing at the end of the 4th round?
Football season is fast approaching. Brought to you by the Frisco Fighters Indoor Football Team and Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310.
Speedway Children's Charity's mission is to give all children a future with no limits. In this spirit, SCC has served over 22,000 North Texas children in need in 2019. Join the cause at speedwaycharities.org/Texas.
Little Guys Movers wants to make your next move the best move of your life. Serving North Texas for over 25 years, Little Guys Movers is changing the image of the moving industry one move at a time. And they have the referrals and reviews to prove it. Let Little Guys Movers make your in-town or interstate home or business move a positive experience, complete with a unique quote process that locks your price in place. No shockers, just top-tier, best-in-class service guaranteed to turn you into a fan. Go to littleguys.com to learn what hundreds of thousands of satisfied customers already know. Moving doesn't have to suck. That's littleguys.com.
Experience the Freeman Hyundai difference. Freeman Hyundai will work with you to satisfy all of your car buying needs. They'll handle everything online or on the phone. They'll even deliver a car to test drive at your home or office. Get deals during the Freeman Hyundai sales event like 2.9% APR for up to 60 months and $2,750 cash back on the all-new 2022 Tucsons. And get Hyundai Assurance featuring America's best warranty, 10 years or 100,000 miles on the powertrain. Details at freemanhyundai.com with approved credit through Hyundai Motor Finance. See dealer for details.
Meet Jack. Jack decided to remove his own load-bearing wall. Oh no. At loadbearingwall.com, we don't paint, plumb, or plant flowers. We just remove load-bearing walls. It's all we do. Over 4,000 times, and all in one day in most cases. Don't be like Jack. Call DFW Structural Framing Authority to help modernize your floor plan. Get a free estimate by going to loadbearingwall.com. That's loadbearingwall.com.
Beverly Hills Rejuvenation Center of Dallas helps guys get youthful energy, increase strength, endurance, and improve their immune system. And now with their new Z-Wave system, guys can tackle ED issues. The Z-Wave is non-invasive, affordable, and for some of the most effective treatment for ED. And hormone consult and blood work are complimentary. Get results with the first treatment and get the explosions back where they belong. Beverly Hills Rejuvenation Center of Dallas with 5 DFW locations. Online at bhrcdallas.com. Mention ticket for special pricing.
We know many people lost jobs due to COVID-19. If you're looking for work, look at Terrell. Hi, Ray Dunlap here with Terrell Economic Development Corporation. We have Fortune 500 and other large industrial employers who are looking for professionals, welders, forklift drivers, maintenance technicians, machine operators, and more. Terrell is conveniently located just 30 miles east of Dallas with access via I-20, Highway 80, State Highway 34. Visit TerrellTexasEDC.com/work for more information.
Hello, this is Sean and Marcus with Bank of England for your Bank of England Mortgage Minute. Sean, do you have a dentist?
Of course.
What about a doctor?
Obviously.
Do you have a lender?
Not really.
Why wouldn't you have a lender?
Good question. Why don't you tell me, Marcus?
Well, in this housing market, it is imperative if you're going to be shopping for a mortgage, you've got someone that you've worked with in the past or has worked with your family. A lot of our business are repeat customers.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, you have a doctor, you have a dentist, you have the everyday. Why not have your go-to mortgage guy? I just talked to a guy. It was his first loan I did 20 years ago. His son now called me, and I'm doing the loan for him. How great is it to have that trust, to have that family relationship, and be right in your backyard?
Bank of England Mortgage, making mortgages fun again. We're at BOETexas.com.
Damn.
Not all loans or products are available in all states or counties. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England. NMLS 418481. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC. Marcus Lepp and Sean Feely are not loan originators.
Listen, if you want to dramatically improve your landscape, your grass and shrubs, flowers and trees, your garden, throw in some azomite, A-Z-O-M-I-T-E. Now, azomite adds back into the soil minerals from A to Z, including trace elements. That's going to help your landscape thrive. So add azomite into your mix for healthy soil. That's azomite, meaning minerals from A to Z. Pick some up at your local nursery, and if by chance they don't have it, ask them to contact their supplier for it. Learn more at azomite.com.
To stop a train.
Ticker's a service of Reliant Air Conditioning and Deep Ellum Brewing Company's new DTX Hometown Golden Ale 2015 NFL MVP Cam Newton agreeing to terms on a one-year deal to join Bill Belichick and the Patriots. The 31-year-old quarterback released in March by the Panthers, the franchise he played for since being drafted first overall in 2011. Lakers planning to sign free agent guard J.R. Smith and submit his name as part of their roster for the Orlando restart. Smith and the Lakers have been talking about a deal since starting guard Avery Bradley opted out of Orlando last week. Fox is asked to end its 12-year, $1 billion contract with the USGA. NBC will pick up the final 7 years of that deal, which runs through 2026. The U.S. Open has been rescheduled for September 17th through the 20th at Winged Foot in New York. That is the Ticket Ticker, a service of A1 Air. They were voted one of the best companies to work for in Texas, and we all know happy employees mean happy customers. A1 Air, call 1-800-NEW-COOL or visit A1Air.com. I'm Ty Walker on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket.
When you're grilling and cracking open a cold one or two this Friday, tune us in, stream us on your smart speaker, and whatever you do, keep us on for 13 straight hours of the best of the worst rotten radio on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Tick.
All right, a little bit late, 2:22 the time. Mike Soroy, Rich Phillips in for Jake and Dan McDowell. They're both off this week. Friday is Rotten Radio, so it'll be Rich and I and our friend Danny Bayless, along with Craig Trey and Ty Walker, getting you through Monday through Thursday. We do have some somewhat breaking Zeke news. I can't say that just as a tease, I guess. He left his Twitch stream on, and he said something that he probably shouldn't have. We'll discuss that and play the audio.
That should be a lesson for you there, Soroy.
We can talk about the fear of leaving your Twitch stream on as you ease your basketball shorts down.
Oh my.
Weird.
Or whatever you're doing. But we'll talk about Zeke as the first story in the Throwdown news desk here in just a second. But first, it's meme time as a big weekend for our little Metroplex. As I don't have the story right in front of me. That's what I was saying when I was in there, Danny. I wish I had. Do you have the original?
Give me 2 seconds.
The fajita post.
I got that one.
Okay, so it was at Mikosina in Allen, apparently, and it's so funny how meme stuff works, where it spreads like wildfire. But go ahead if you have it in front of you.
It's from the Opinionated Much podcast. Tweeting at Mikosina, my wife, date night after 3+ months, locked up on quarantine, waiting for shredded cheese, as it's the only way she can eat fajitas. We've asked 4 people going on 18 minutes now, just unreal, at Allen location. We gotta quit blaming COVID-19 for crappy service.
So much like all this stuff, he just fires this off at like 9 o'clock, and then
And also had a photo of his very disgusted wife leaning up against the wall at the restaurant,
looking
with the
down.
plate in front of her with no cheese on it.
I mean, they waited 18 minutes at this point, and if you look at the table, it is an acre of untouched miscellaneous fajitas. They've got shrimp, they have beef, they
Sit
have
down,
chicken,
son.
They got mambo taxis.
they got everything, and it's just sitting there being uneaten while this woman
You can't eat it any other way without cheese, Danny. Come
waits
on.
for shredded cheese.
And the look of despair is already turned into I think a national meme.
It is.
Because it's not just around here now.
Well, it did happen in Allen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He deleted the tweet, but of course it was screen captured. And apparently his wife did not know that he had posted this picture of her until later that night or the next day when she sees it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And she wasn't real happy about it.
No. And then I think he tweeted the next morning, it hasn't been a good day around
No,
my house.
that's not. He's done some backtracking since Saturday.
He tried to say that he was using satire, which he doesn't understand the definition of satire, obviously. And look, I mean, everybody was